welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be doing some toe. That's what we're going to be doing today. Now, I know I promised that I would have gotten some out to you on Monday. Unfortunately, that's not what happened, but I'm hoping that I can get at least this episode out to you tonight. I'm recording this on Tuesday. And then the next one will be out on Wednesday. That's the plan. And then we'll hop back over to B90. That's kind of the plan here. And hopefully I can get caught up and then stay caught up. But that's what we're going to be doing. We're probably going to be doing 2 episodes in this one. And then we'll do last week's episode in its own. And then this past week's we'll do on its own. That's what I'm planning to do. And then we'll, like I said, hop back over to B90. So before we hop into that though, let's do some hot goss. So Sabrina from Love is Blind UK wished that she and her now estranged husband, Stephen, would have signed a prenuptial agreement. So during an appearance on September 9th episode of Out of the Pods podcast, Sabrina detailed the financial side of her reality TV marriage and subsequent divorce, saying, quote, "We did talk about finances deeply, even in the pods, and we had conversations that was very much like what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours." This is what Sabrina told the hosts, Deep D Vempty and Natalie Lee, who appeared on season 2 of the US version of the dating experiment. Oh, Deep D and Natalie. Duh. I'm fine, y'all. Sabrina added, "It was very much like, once we're married, we're a team, but whatever you're bringing to this marriage is yours." I really respected that perspective because I think that's a great outlook, but I think this is where I felt a little let down by the show in the sense that we're not given prenups because there's not enough time. I don't know why anyone would think that the show is going to be involved in that sense. I really don't. I mean, they're not the ones signing your marriage license or getting your marriage license. That's you. We've literally seen cast members going to the office and getting marriage licenses. That's not the production's job, nor is it production's job to get a prenup done for you. If you want a prenup, you're an adult, you can go get a prenup. Now, should maybe production have a legal team on site just in case a cast member decides they want a prenup? Yes, but that is still then up to you to figure out whether or not you want that prenup. Production is not going to get involved in that. They're just not. And I don't know why anyone would think that they would. That's kind of, I hear what she's saying, but it's kind of ridiculous that she thinks that that would ever be something production would get themselves involved in. No way. Like, yeah. Sabrina and Steven, as we know, were one of 11 couples to get engaged, which obviously is it 5 featured on the 6 featured on the show. So yeah, while Sabrina and Steven's marriage was short-lived, as we all know, they are still navigating divorce proceedings. According to Sabrina, having a prenup would have been beneficial for both parties. But yes, again, you're saying this after the fact, now that you're in a divorce. You didn't think about it then because you didn't think this was how it was going to end up. And I think that's kind of the problem with a lot of people, even just the person, the regular old person who's getting married without a TV show backing that. People don't think about doing a prenup because you're happy. You're not thinking you're going to get divorced. You're not thinking any of those things. So yes, you can say that now to, to people who didn't get married. Now, they didn't go through a divorce, but they didn't get married. And I mean, I don't want to sound harsh or anything, but like, I'm trying to think if we've had, well, yes, we've had definitely divorces that haven't been really in the news very much, thinking like Ayana and Jared, for example. But yeah, if you wanted a prenup, you're both smart people, intelligent people, um, grown people. You could have gotten a prenup. You just didn't think about it, and that's okay. She went on to say, I don't believe that Steven's ever gonna ask me for anything because that's just not who he is as a person. So then what is this conversation? um, saying he's not gonna say, I want half of this or I want this. Like, that's not at all what I'm insinuating because that's not who he is. But a prenup takes away that awkward conversation. If everyone has to put everything out there, everything has to go into discovery, all your credit card statements, bank statements, everything, but it also protects everyone as well. I mean, I don't know. I've not gone through a divorce through with having a prenup in the mix. I haven't. Um which here in Canada I believe is called a spousal agreement. I don't think I've ever gone through anything like that. My divorce again was very simple. We didn't need to exchange anything like that. Um so I can't speak to that. So I'm not sure if, like, even with a prenup, if you still have to go through all of those things. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't. Um, she said, I don't believe it should be on the cast shoulders to vet people. But that's now a separate situation than a prenup, right? And I agree. It is not the cast's responsibility for vetting anybody. And we've heard many different times how um, maybe the cast isn't being properly vetted, especially on the American version. So, yeah. She went on to say, though, just the status of them. She's saying we're still technically married. And I think that's what it's really hard because obviously, since it's for a show, you've broken up, but you can't tell anyone if you're having a really hard day or you're really triggered by something. I really struggled. Like, I was diagnosed with depression and I was put on anxiety meds for the first time in my life. Like, I really struggled with my mental health with the first few months after everything unraveled and the marriage broke down, which is really hard. And I feel for her on that. Going through a divorce, no matter how long the marriage was for, is really, really taxing on your mental health and everything. And I understand wholeheartedly. No matter the situation, who initiates all of that, it's a really tough process. But I wish them truly the best. Let's move on to our next piece of hot goss, and this is pertaining to Jen and maybe someone potentially accompanying her on different public stuff. And that guy is Jonathan, y'all. Spending a lot of time together. And I've seen other pictures with them together. But here's what I have about this. So on September 13th, Jen was accompanied to the People magazine's 50th birthday party at the Chain House in Los Angeles by Jonathan. As we know, one of her contestants was let go after Fantasy Suites. Following her breakup from Devin, Jen started appearing in Johnson's TikToks, which led to fans speculating about whether or not the two are dating in the comment sections of their videos. We don't know for sure if they are. It hasn't been confirmed. I imagine they're not going to confirm that right now. Um, or maybe they're just hanging out, being friends. Who knows? But whatever it is, I hope she's happy with whatever's going on with her and Jonathan. Or if nothing's going on with her and Jonathan, it doesn't matter. I just hope she's happy because she deserves to be any kind of happy right now. No thanks to Devin. But let's go on to our last piece of hot goss for this episode, and then we'll jump in. Katie Thurston is getting married, y'all. On Sunday, September 15th, Katie announced on Instagram that she and her fellow stand-up comedian boyfriend, Jeff Arcuri, are engaged, with both sharing snaps from an engagement photo shoot on a beach. We'll kind of go through what that kind of looked like. For those who didn't watch it, if you want to go watch it, I'm sure you can find it on their Instagram. So here's what happened. Saying, quote, "When you know, you know. Katie said, who competed, as we know, on the 25th season of The Bachelor. Yikes. And then was the star on the 17th season of The Bachelorette in 2021, such a long time ago. In the first photo of their Instagram carousel, Katie could be seen throwing her hand in the air, with a shiny ring sitting on her finger, while Arcuri, whatever his name is again, I can't remember, struck a pose behind her. Jeff, that's it. As Thurston wore a white skirt and lace top for the snaps, she and Jeff posed on a beach, shared a few kisses, and held each other close. The comedian also lifted his fiancée up in a few of the shots. The final slide of their post shared the moment he popped the question. Jeff could be seen in the proposal video reaching for his back pocket, kneeling down on one knee and pulling out a ring, while Katie covered her face with her hands and nodded a yes. Congrats to Katie. I hope this time it works out for her. Yeah. So then we never have to see her on TV again. Let's move on to the episodes now. We're done with Hot Goss. We're going to go into the episodes. So again, we're going to be doing 2 episodes in this one, and then we will do 1 and 1. That's the plan. So, The Other Way, Season 6, Episode 9, Some Kind of Awful. Okay, not some kind of wonderful, not to get twisted. So let's start with Joanne and Sean. So we are leaving for the airport. Hopefully this will be her last trip, because the next time she hopes to move there. Slow your roll, honey bunny. You haven't even told your children that you're married, but what am I? Mom wants to have eyes and ears. She needs that. She literally says to her grandson, "You're my eyes and ears." She says to Noelle, "You're my eyes and ears." Like she needs her eyes and she needs her ears to what's about to happen. But I wrote down, well, ma'am, you could have just gone yourself, and then you will be your own eyes and your own ears. Because you were told to go and you decided, oh no, he needs to come to me. Like, you know what I mean? And yeah, not realistic. But again, who am I? So now we arrive at the airport. As we kind of just said, her bestie Noelle is coming because she does want to meet him. She's going to have lots of questions. So there we go. She is also going to be flying back with the boys early so that Joanne can stay back and have some quality time with her husband, even though no one knows that that's the case here. But anyways, Noelle and Mom talk alone while Joanne and the kids go check in. And they basically she says to her, "Here, you're my eyes and you're my ears." Like, okay. But again, could have just gone, but anyway. But Noelle, don't worry. She said she has a question. She's going to ask them. Hopefully we'll have some answers and all of that, so it's fine. But then we're saying our goodbyes, and that's basically that. Her mom basically says, like, it's really tough knowing that I know that they're about to be told information that, could upset them, because I already know they're married, so she's kind of feeling, she knows, like, I know it's about to happen, and that's kind of weighing on her. But anyway, we then see Sean back over in Ireland, and we're with his daughter, whose name is Bella Rose. She's 8 years old. She's adorbs. And he basically said that her and him and her mom split when she was, I believe, 7 months old. And they decided that, after some time, I guess, I'm not sure, but they decided that he would be best suited to take care of her full time. So that's what happens. He is a full-time dad, and nothing wrong with that. But it always makes me wonder, like, what's going on there that, you don't very often hear a mom opting out of having her child full time, but whatever is in best interest of the kid, I'm fine with. So Bella then asks, like, do you have a crush on her? Because he's being kind of weird and saying, oh, my JoJo's coming or whatever. And she's like, you're being sus right now. Like, do you have a crush on her? And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Y'all, this little girl doesn't even know that they're together, much less married. What in the world? He explains, and I'm with him. He explains that the reason why he didn't tell her is because he didn't want this person coming into their life, um, and potentially walking back out, and she would be attached to her. Totally get it. I'm here for it. But, sir, you have been married for 2 years. Maybe then would have been the time when you decided to get married to then say, oh, by the way, we're together now. So at least when you tell her, it won't be a blow, you know? Like, these two grown ass adults have no freaking idea how to d- d- do shit. That's basically all I can come up with is just know how to communicate. Like, I don't get it. You have her not telling her kids that they're married for 2 years. Like, I can maybe get behind 6 months. 2 years? But what I really don't understand is not even telling his daughter that they're together. And you sit here and be like, okay, well, how could this little girl be so? She's 8. She's 8. That's how. An 8-year-old is going to take what she's being told at face value. Now, maybe she'll have some, ideas, but she's not going to think her father is going to be lying to her. And yeah, it's just, you don't want to find out your parents been lying to you. I know what it feels like at 9 years old to find out your parents been lying to you, and it's not fun. And that's the part of it. And it's not going to be a fun situation for her, as we've seen in the last episode. It's not going to be a fun situation for her. And we'll talk about it when we get to that episode. But it's just, he could have made this fall a little less impactful on when she got to the garage, you know? Sorry for the graphic analogy, but that's what I'm trying to say. It's just, he could have done a little better here. It's ridiculous. Like, why does she, after like the how many trips this woman has been on, where you would just be like, yeah, you know? Anyway. So anyway, they get to the airport and then you see Joanne and everybody else come in. They say hello, but of course, because I thought, okay, well, their reunion isn't going to be very romantic because he can't even kiss her because his 8-year-old daughter thinks they're just friends. And we'll get to more about that. Like, they can't even sleep in the same bed because his daughter doesn't know they're together. So you guys can't even do the 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 horizontal whatever. You can't play games. The horizontal game because your child doesn't even know you're together and that way you could sleep in the same room. Like, I just, no one is thinking. No one. So he does kiss her on the cheek though, so there's at least that. But I mean, even that feels intimate. Like, so yeah, they will not be telling the kids anything today because everyone's tired, but this week they will because again, like the kids are leaving earlier than she is. I'm not sure how long they're going to be there, but they have to do it. And he does worry that maybe her kids can't understand him because of his accent, because he literally says to the boys, like, can you understand me? Can you understand? Yes, we can understand you. I think his accent is like, he has an accent obviously, but it's not for that thick. Like, yeah, you're good. But yeah, that's basically it for them in this episode. Let's move on. Oh god, guys. To Shekinah and Sarper. Okay. These fools. Okay, let's do this. So, it's Shekinah's birthday, okay? And what would you know? It's also Sarper's birthday. They were born at the same time, but 2 years apart. But the producers are like, okay, wait. Wait. I can't with y'all, okay? Wait a minute. Sarper, you're born on the 21st. Shekinah, you're born on the 20th. So what the fuck? Like, what? And they say, well, there's a really big point that needs to be made. Okay? Um, they are born at the same moment because of that little pesky thing called time difference. Like, I can't. These dummies, I can't. I just can't. Like, my brain is literally on fire because these people are literally trying to say, my birthday is on the same. Why can't you guys just say your birthday's a day apart? Like, that's cool too. Like, why does it have to be y'all are born on the same day? Like, because of time difference. I just, these guys are dumb. I'm sorry. I can't. Um, let's continue because my brain's frying. So, we're meeting up with his family because it's their birthday. And they're just like, how many couples are born at the same time? None. None. Because what would you know? You guys are also not one. I just, where do they get these people? Um, she's like, she's the chosen one. Like this is Star Wars or something. Okay. So they're kind of like, so what about staying in Turkey, Shekinah? Like, what's going on with that? Like, are you going to stay here? And he says, okay, well, I have something to say because I feel like this is like the great time to say it. So she's applied for the K1 visa, which basically means that we would be able to get married in the States in 90 days. So which means that I would be moving there. And his family, I can't remember who it was, his mom, I think. She's like, well, can't you just get married here and then stay here? Like, stay here. Like, why can't you just stay? Because she has a kid, ma'am. That's why. And this back and forth is a lot on a person. And she has a kid, ma'am. He doesn't. Okay, wait. He doesn't have one that he has a relationship with. So, like, there's. And I love how his mom is just like, I don't like it. He's not, I don't like it. That's nice that you don't like it. No one really asked, really and truly. I'm sorry. Like, I understand it's tough to see your child move away, and I get that. But you can't just be out here, like, she's adamant. She's like, he's not leaving. He's not leaving. Ma'am, there's a show for you, and it's called I Love a Mama's Boy, which, by the way, y'all, who's watching I Love a Mama's Boy? Like, I know I don't talk about it, I don't cover it, because, again, I just need to have something for myself. Who's watching I Love a Mama's Boy? What about that one there with the girlfriend who comes in with her shoes on? What is happening? How about the other you know what? How about all of them? And of course, Kim and what's his face are back because why not? Um, funny, Shakib and what's her other face there? They're not on this, which is probably for the best, honestly. Um, anyway, out of that though. So she basically, his mom kind of says, I only have one son. I don't want it. It's not it's not Europe. Like, why would you ever? And she said she doesn't want him to go. Um, sorry, he doesn't want to go, but being with her is obviously more important to him, so he will go. But mom says he should just find a Turkish girl and stay here. Ma'am, ma'am, he's had sex with roughly 2,501. Okay. The 2,500 prior to the one didn't work out. He's had sex with 2,500 Turkish women, apparently. They didn't work. So I think he's really put his bets into the Turkish girl, and it didn't work. Yeah, because yeah. And then he finds the one, and that's the chosen one, and that's the one. And she just happens to live in America. So, yeah, don't know what to tell you. Don't know what to tell you. Ma'am, also to add to that, but the 2,500, to add to that, he has fucked all of Turkey. He isn't going to be able to find a Turkish woman now. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, get back. So they then we find out that he has no relationship, or she has no relationship with her family, which is not surprising whatsoever. Um, and she does say that her daughter is somewhat influenced by her family as well, which, I mean, I don't think her daughter would ever not have a relationship with her. I hope not. But I mean, he didn't really give a great impression when they met, where your sister met him. And I feel like we saw more than we even saw last season with them of the interaction. Like, he was not very good at all. Um, so yeah. Now, do I think that that's appropriate for them to not have a relationship with her because they just don't like the guy she's with? No. But this is why she tends to gravitate towards maybe toxic men, Sarper included, because she seems to have a fairly toxic relationship with her family. I don't, like, yeah, I don't know why you can't even just talk to your child, your sister, um, just because you don't like the guy she's dating. That seems absolutely ridiculously dumb, and life is way too short. But what I will say to that is these are, again, people who are part of the Amish community, and excommunicating is kind of their thing. I'll leave that there. So then in the next scene, we're kind of seeing a fight that's ensuing, and we hear the producer walking back into the apartment, because I guess they were done filming for the day, and they must have called the producer, and he's like, "What happened?" And the vanity happened. So basically, kind of what happened here is that he offered to buy a vanity that she didn't like. She didn't want it, and she told him as such. She said, "Let's not waste the money on a vanity that I don't even like. That seems like counterproductive, right?" Um, And she says that he kind of spiraled, he got upset, he ripped her extension out of her hair. I can't believe that I just said that. But I mean, it's not great either. You shouldn't be doing that. He also put the phone out of her hand, Andre style. Who knew? And he's like, I never harmed her or touched her, but even if accidentally, you still did. You pulled something out of her hand. You pulled her extension out. You may not have intentionally done any of those. Well, the phone you intentionally did, but you might not have intentionally pulled the phone out of the extension out of her hair, but you did. Um, so she's leaving because we have a repeat of last season. And he says, take care of yourself because, again, deuces, I guess. And she's like, I will, better than you do. And then she's in the car, I think it's the producer's car, and she kind of explains kind of the events. So they were at the restaurant. She mentioned to him, can't wait to go home and give you your gift. So she kind of suspects that maybe he got a little bit upset with himself because he didn't have a gift for her, which, dude, duh. You guys share the same birthday. You should have gotten her a gift. But anyways, um, so he's like, okay, like, I'm gonna buy this vanity for you, even though he already knew she didn't like the vanity. And he was getting upset because she wouldn't pick a vanity, saying things like, I changed my life for you. Like, what did you do? Oh, I don't know, not seeing her daughter. Like, really? Traveling constantly? Who, like, do you need more? But he said that he did all of this, changed his life for her. He was happy and content the way he was, and it's like, fucking random women all the time. Like, guy, like, really? That's not a life. As much as he wants to say like it was, like, that's not a life. Anyway, um, so yeah, he kind of was going off on her like that, and then he apparently, I think in the process of taking her phone away from her or pulling the phone away from her, he pulled the extension out of her hair. I think that's how it happened. And when she said that she wanted her phone back from him because it's her phone, she should not have to even ask for that. Like, how dare you take the phone out of my hand? He was kind of acting dumb, kind of. I don't even know if gaslighting is the right terminology to use, just like trying to pull the wool over her eyes or something. It was weird by saying things like, "Oh, I don't have your phone. I don't know where your phone is." Sir, you just ripped the electronic device out of her hand and did whatever the hell you did with it. Give her her phone. Are you okay? No, you're not, but that's fine. Like, I just, no. Mm-mm. The day that someone decides to rip my phone out of my hand is the day that you will lose your hand. Um, anyway, so due to this though, she will be Oh, before we get to that though, he also says to her that he misses the old Shekinah, basically the Shekinah that was submissive. He doesn't like the Shekinah that's assertive and speaks for herself because he doesn't know how to handle that. He feels out of control if she's asserting any sort of dominance. Um, and I think he's also, she claims anyways, is afraid of losing her due to losing the control. And it's just like, but you guys can be on an equal level playing field. You don't have to be this, it doesn't have to be the dom sub type situation. Now, some people like that, and that's fine. But if he's doing it Christian Grey style because he wants to keep control because God forbid the day he loses it, he's gonna lose it, then that's a problem. That's a problem. So, but anyways, with that though, she's gonna be staying in a hotel alone with her dog to process what happened. I wish you all the very best. I do. I really do. Anyway, y'all, moving on to the next, we have Corona and Inky. So we are meeting the parents today, or her family, and she doesn't want to, or sorry, his parents. Sorry, I forgot. We do meet her family too, but that's not yet. Seeing his parents. Not much really to say here, really. But it was very sweet. But she doesn't want to do it, like I said, because she's nervous. But she has met his brother. Now it's spelled Carl, but I think it's Karil. Sorry if I'm butchering it. It's Icelandic. I'm sorry. But yeah, seeing his brother. She has met him before. She does like him. But she's like, what if they don't like me? And he's like, of course they're gonna like you. They're gonna love you. And they get there, and she's like, there's still time to bail. And he's like, no, 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 no. We're going in. And she's like, what if I break my legs in the snow? Then I will have to go to the hospital. Then we can't do it. He's like, they'll just meet us at the hospital then. She's like, what the hell? You're not getting out of this is basically what he's trying to say. But they get there, they see his brother. No parents are there yet, so she's comfortable. But then his mom and his dad show up, and his mom's name is Inga, Inka. And his dad is Hilmar. And his dad, y'all, is the most adorable man I have ever seen in my entire life. Dad asks for a hug, which I loved. And um, but then mom is touching her hair, and as she says, usually this would be a no-no, which yes, don't touch my hair. But think I want to make a good impression, so touch away. You want me to cut off a piece of my hair? I will do that for you. It's perfectly fine. So she's handling the fact that mom is touching her hair well. Better than most probably would. But they do ask, like, so how long are you staying for? She's like, For forever. So Ingi has not told his family that she's staying forever. And they ask Ingi, okay, so Ingi, why Corona? And he just says that he adores her. And that's so sweet. And, he's happy to kind of see what the future will hold with her. Um, and they're like, okay, well, great, because we're ready for some more grandkids. We want 10. And she's like, hold on. She's like, it's really great, though, that they are ready for Black grandkids because that is the reality. They will have Black grandkids. So, yay. Anyway, that's it for them. Like I said, was short. Let's move on to Dempsey and Statler. So, sleeping last night wasn't so bad for them, y'all. Dempsey made some tea and it tastes like fish, which is disgusting. So they opt to have some champagne. They make mimosas and they're going to live like nomads. Just hope they don't go mad. That was funny, Statler. Congrats on that one. That was good. But they're off. They're going to they're good for now. They're good. So then we see them a little bit later in the next scene, and they're in Nottinghamshire. That's where they are. And they need to go get some gas in the van. And Statler is like, you pay after? So they just trust you? And there are cameras everywhere, she says. They take a picture of your license plate, and then the police will just come after you if you don't pay. And she's like, okay. So then they pay £95 and 97 pence, I believe is the right term to use, right? In total. But it's like £88 for the tank itself to fill the tank up, which is the equivalent of $111.82 US dollars. And she's like, Jesus, like I pay like £30 back home. Well, your car is probably smaller than this van. Like this tank is probably massive in comparison, right? So there's that. You can't really compare. Um, £30 though, like I feel like my tank would be smaller than hers. And well, no, I guess maybe if I'm thinking Canadian dollars, I spend about $50, 50, 60, I think, to fill up my tank. So that's roughly about what she just said in US dollars, roughly close. Okay. So anyway, but Styler's on, she got something on her heart, y'all. And she's like, I thought you didn't have any extra money. And she's like, well, I have 500. Okay. So I think we need to back up a little bit here. They were heading to their boot sale. Did I miss that? Yeah, hold on. I think I'm on the wrong episode, y'all. Yeah, I think it's this episode. If it's not, guys, bear with me, because I think it's this episode. But yeah, I think this is when they did the boot sale. Yeah. So anyway, she's like, yeah, she didn't know she had extra money. And she's like, oh yeah, I have like £500 from the sale of the car. And she's like, not that much. And she feels like she was keeping it from, to herself. And she's freaking out because the van is also only in Dempsey's name. But apparently only one person's name can be on the van, which I think makes sense. And Dempsey does say, though, I told you, and is in the moment, that I told you to draft a letter that I could sign to kind of ensure that in case of anything happening, you would be protected. You didn't do that. And Statler's like, I don't recall that conversation. I'm not familiar about that conversation. I don't know who's right here. On the one hand, I can understand that maybe Dempsey may have potentially not had this conversation with her. And she's trying to rewrite history. That's possible. But I also know from the perspective of someone who deals with autistic person when having a conversation with somebody, they don't always remember the conversations you have with them. Sometimes they choose not to also remember some of the conversations they have with you. I'm not saying that's Styler's case here, but It's very possible that she maybe just didn't remember the conversation. Um, but if that is true and Dempsey did say that to her, well, then that just kind of goes to show that she was telling you to protect yourself and you didn't do that. Now, is there time that she could? Absolutely. There's it's never too late to protect yourself, just to make sure. But maybe also Statler didn't want to spend the money on having to do that, because even to, I mean, you could have still draft something up, but there's always ways around that. There's always loopholes around stuff like that. But you could have just drafted something online, whatever, and done it that way. Could have done it that way as well. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Anyway, but then we kind of see that this clearly the conversation is hurting Dempsey's feelings. Dempsey says that Statler wanted to go now, and she wanted to go right now. And she was also, though, concerned about the money. And Dempsey told her, I told her if money is an issue, let me keep the caravan, work for Mark another 6 months, save some money. But Statler says, no, I want to go now. And I will support us. Guess what, guys? I believe her. I 1000% believe her that that's how it went down. And the reason why I believe her, because I tend to believe Statler more than Dempsey in most things, because I do think there's a level of usury, Karen, in this relationship. But this I believe, because if you remember from last season how adamant Statler was that she wanted to move. She was ready to move next month. She was so adamant that she wanted to get to England. But she was also not sure about living in the caravan. And I don't know why they couldn't just stick to the caravan and let her live in the caravan while she worked for Mark. But for whatever reason that may have been, I'm not sure. But obviously the caravan is bigger than a van. You know what I mean? But I know Statler was concerned about the size of the caravan, was concerned about the bathroom, concerned about all of those things, because obviously she has her issues with her stomach issues, her GI issues, and that's totally understandable. And I get all of that, but again, it's a van. Like, you literally have to hook the van up to use the freaking utility facilities, you know? You are in a smaller space. You're constantly seeing, like, you're I feel like the caravan would have been better. And again, if you're in an emergency situation and need to use the bathroom, well, hell, Sailor, we saw you pooping on the lawn. You know, it's fine. You could have done it, you know? I think it would have been better than living in a van. Now, I do wonder if there is the truth lies somewhere in the middle for both of them, which would mean that on the one hand, I do think Statler was eager and ready to get to England. But on the flip side, I think Statler was ready to do van life. She didn't want to be in one place anymore. She probably was getting bored of working for Mark, and this is what she wanted to do as well. So somewhere they met in the middle with that. Why don't you just meet me in the middle? That's literally what happened, y'all. That's what I feel. Anyways. But anyway, that being said, though, that's basically it for them. Let's see where else we're at. See who else we have from this episode. I can't remember. Was that it? It was just them. Going massage with Tata and James was in episode, whichever episode, I think 11. So yeah, I think that's it. I think I've caught everybody. Don't worry though. If I've missed anyone, I will talk about them in the next episode, y'all, because we've been talking now for almost 50 minutes. Talked a little longer than I expected I would on this, but I did. So with that being said, we're going to be probably doing these episodes separately. So yeah, that's basically then. That's it for that episode. Again, if I've missed anything in this episode, we will talk about it in the next episode. I will make sure that I don't miss anything. But that is that. Again, thank you for your patience. We're getting through it. We're getting through the toes. They're all ready to go. I just have to actually record. But yeah, that's that. So the next we'll talk about episode 10. That will be coming. We'll probably get that out to you tomorrow morning because I am going to get this out to you. I'm hoping tomorrow morning. We're going to get this out to you tonight. But if not tomorrow morning, it'll be Thursday morning, but we'll see how it goes. But that is that for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.